Hey guys, it's Matt. 9/11 took, what, 2 hours to play out? The ramifications after that took a long time. Wars, taking your shoes off at the airport, Patriot Act, invasion of privacy. But the major event itself took 2 hours. This is going to take at least 2 months, if not a lot longer. So this has already eclipsed 9/11 by tenfold. Tenfold at least. Just trying to be conservative. It affects the whole world. It's a one world system imposing a new normal on the entire world. But there's not a whole lot to say about it at this point. I've said everything I can say about it. My theories are out there. If I change any of my theories, I'll certainly come right out, make a quick video, just jump in front of the camera like this and say, here's where I'm totally changing up what I think is going to happen, what I thought is going to happen. But I haven't changed anything up. Just to reiterate, and again, this video is I'm not going to talk about this thing much. There's not much more that can be said. We have to just let it play out. What are we going to do? Make some phone calls, get 10, 15 pickup trucks together, and just head to DC? What are we going to do? Nothing. Nothing. So it has to play out. But for those like us that pay attention, reality will be revealed. We'll learn so much about the nature of how this place works. We'll learn in 6 months what it took us 10 years in studying 9/11 to learn. But it just has to play out. Just to reiterate, this is obviously 9/11 Part 2. It's to move society in a certain way, to move the bar permanently in many different facets of society. It probably will start a reset of the entire economic system, a new currency, but I think they will back it off. It's not wishful thinking. It's just consistent with the way they do business. They've had the ability to flush all of us for a long time. It's just not that, like I said in a video or two back, it's just not the way they do business. They wanted to kill us all, they'd kill us all. They need to inflict an incredible amount of pain to get a long list of things done. So the pain, when I talk to Greg on the phone, I have said what we agree on. It is amazing that 2 weeks ago we thought the volume was fully at 10. Can't go any louder. And they just keep finding a way to turn it up a little bit more every day or every 2 or 3 days. It's incredible. Now that doesn't mean they're going to turn it up forever. They're going to inflict pain. They know they have their finger on the pulse of the nation, for lack of better words, through every tweet, phone conversation, email, Facebook post, YouTube post. It all runs through the Whopper supercomputer. We've been over that many times. So they might be saying, "Well, we thought we'd have to back it off by now." Everybody is pleasantly complying. We can get another couple weeks out of this, but it obviously can't go on forever. It just, then it would lead to that apocalyptic situation. Unless people just in 10 to 14 days just start coming out of their house and say, I'm just not doing this anymore. Going back to work, start producing toilet paper. But, I think, again, that we'll back it off at some point. There could be another phase of it going into the fall, but there will be a degree, I believe, of normalcy this summer. Okay? They'll talk about this needs to be done in case the virus comes back. That needs to be done, and people will accept it. But in terms of turning the volume up even more, I didn't think they could turn it up much past canceling all the sports seasons. But they do it every couple days. It is incredible. The latest being, now guys, let me just say, I will say what the latest is. I won't lose my train of thought. But when they will, in my opinion, float these stories and scare a whole nation that they're doing this, that doesn't mean they're doing a whole lot of it. Okay, they're two different things. It's both a complete trashing the Constitution and invasion of rights. But the latest story from a day or two is New York residents not allowed to flee New York. New York cars from New York with New York license plates, the yellow and black, I think they are, especially going into Rhode Island. The story was about Rhode Island, will be stopped, and the people that are fleeing New York will be quarantined. Basically, this is there's to me. I don't know if there's ever been a bigger trashing of the Constitution than that. Now, again, they'll float it and they'll scare the heck out of people. And when thousands of people in New York see that article and they say, "Oh, I was going to head up to Connecticut or Rhode Island," they go, "We can't because we'll be stopped and quarantined." So they'll float the story. I don't think if you went to the Rhode Island border, you would see every state police they have pulling over hundreds of New York license plates, and then where are they going to quarantine them? The Four Seasons motel hotel? I guess Four Seasons doesn't have a motel, but the Four Seasons, the Ritz. Where are they going to put these people? So it's talk. Will they? Do they want? Will they pull over some New York cars and get it on film and then use that to scare people? Sure. But in terms of what they want you to believe, that every New York license plate is going to be pulled over and jailed, imprisoned. If you're quarantined, you're imprisoned. So just by governors saying it will happen, this is just an. I know that Constitution's dead, but I didn't think they could turn the volume up much more. This is so blatant that even when we talk to friends and neighbors about this, they will have to agree to some degree. I know they love government. Most of them have a love of government, but to a degree, they'll scratch their heads and go, "Yeah, I can see how that's possible." If your neighbor will say this, if anything they told me about this country is true. Remember in the Hunt for Red October, Vasily, the second in command, the guy that was in Jurassic Park. It was Captain, who's the Sean Connery, I guess it is. Yeah, Vasily saying, "I want to live in Montana, and I will raise rabbits and marry a big round American woman, whatever. And can I drive state to state? No papers." No papers, Vasily. No papers. That's amazing to somebody from the Soviet Union. Well, you can't move state to state anymore when the governor says you can't. Just hold up your pocket constitution, see what happens. Nothing. So it is absolutely incredible. But that's just another example of how they just turn the volume up a little more. Like, well, what more can they do? What more can they possibly do? So again, it just, guys, have to. This is the second 9/11. They have to inflict the pain. If everything's returning to normal now, then nothing would be implemented in terms of all the things they want to do. They have to make it so some things start going out of stock. By the way, if you want to order anything from Amazon, it takes an extra 3 or 4 weeks for some items. I had something that was ordered, and I looked, and I'm like, "Where is it?" It's usually like 2 days. Where is it? And it said the delivery date's like the end of April. I'm like, what? What? Whatever. So if you need, if you order dog food or anything like that, just do not expect it to come when expect an extra week or two, at least, or I'd order it now. But there's not a whole lot more to say about this thing. I'm going to, over the next few weeks, no matter what happens with this thing, unless it really gets bonkers. It already is, but you know what I mean, like even way beyond this, if that's even possible. I'm going to start talking about just the nature of reality itself, and centered around what I've said many, many times, centered around the picture that I showed coming in, where let's just start with the picture coming in, where Samantha sang "Emotion." It probably was on the Saturday Night Fever album. It might not have been. It's just emotion that's taken me. You know that song, and it's Samantha sang, but I think mostly you hear the Bee Gees on that song. But so is it Private Stock Records with like an arrow at the bottom of the P for private, pointing to the North Tower, with the words or letters going right into the part of the North Tower where supposedly the 91st floor where supposedly Flight 11, the Phantom Flight 11 hit, and it's just incredible, these things. And there's too many of these things. There's too many coincidences, impossible coincidences. The catalog I have in the book now, I don't know, between what are the chances this could happen to if the world were real, this couldn't happen. It's roughly close to 100 pages or something like that of things. And there's hundreds more that aren't even included in that list. Here's one that pops up today. So I just refuse to, I'm not going to go there anymore with any element of the truth community that says all of this stuff, including all the 33s and every headline. There's somebody sent me an image that it's on like a website that hosts image, and you can zoom in and out, and you just see, I don't know, like little boxes and pixels, but when you zoom in, it's news articles. They have like pasted them all next to each other with all the 33s and all the news articles. It's just beyond, obviously beyond what any regular person can do in terms of pulling off this event, 9/11, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of impossible synchronicities, coincidences outlined where I've cataloged in the book or cataloged somewhere else. The JFK to Lincoln synchronicities by itself, it's just not, it's other world or not human, or we live in the matrix or a simulation. But I refuse to, if any truth channel or whatever comes to me and says this is all done by regular people, I just won't even entertain a conversation. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. There are single elements of one event that aren't possible to be pulled off by regular people. The lack of video regarding the plane that hit the South Tower or the Phantom that hit the South Tower. The lack of video, whether there was a plane there or not. So if somebody's saying, well, there was no plane, why would there be video? Then there would be a video of no plane. So there should be, I've said this many times, I've said this many times, there should be at least up to 500 videos of something happening to the top of the South Tower, and there's 4 or 5 with, if you include the blurry ones where there just looks this little gray thing coming in from afar, there's a total of 14, 12 to 14. It's not possible. It's not possible by itself. The Kennedy to Lincoln synchronicities, it's now up to 50. I have 50 cataloged in the book. Both had a VP named Johnson. Both Johnsons were born in the exact same year, but exactly 100 years apart. Both came through the House of Representatives. Yeah, I've been over it. By itself, just by itself, the Kennedy to Lincoln synchronicities. I don't buy 1 in a billion coincidences. So who coordinated that? Who's coordinating that? You have an entire world marching lockstep in terms of media and politicians, celebrities, and those, whatever George Carlin said, are in the club. All around the world, all marching to the exact same tune, singing the exact same tune, with zero dissent anywhere in any area. Zero dissent. Nobody questioning, nobody pushing back, other than a few small-time doctors making, some YouTube videos. It's just that level of coordination. It's not human. So I just don't want to hear it's guys and girls at the lodge making phone calls and CFR. I just won't, and I won't go there anymore. The eclipse by itself proves, this existence is not real for the most part. Now, if somebody has mega way out theories, I'll listen much more than I'll listen to guys and girls, people like Hillary Clinton and people in Trilateral Commission are just making phone calls and coordinating all this, and coordinated, 28 to 30 some years ago, Robert Zemeckis, Back to the Future, coordinating the 9/11 predictive programming, including the movie The Walk, how that's tied in. If you watch the video, Barely Human, whatever the number is, you just search Back to the Future predicts 9/11. I think it's actually moved to the second page. You have to look for it for a while. And then it brings in the movie The Walk about the wire between the Twin Towers. I mean, Who's yeah? It's guys. Again, if somebody comes to me and says, Matt, you need to know about these aliens that have ships and they're doing it and they have technology and means that we don't even know about, I will listen to that. I'll listen to any theory, as way out as it is. I'll listen to someone say, Matt, we are absolutely in the Matrix, basically exactly as it was described in the movie. I'll listen to that, but I just will not. Just people in Trilateral Commission, like Ted Cruz's wife, making phone calls. Make sure you get the 33 in the headlines every time. Pulling every movie's coded. Every single VAT City, Vatican City, VAT underscore City channel, going over the symbolism, the blatant symbolism. Not he's catching things I would have never caught, but when he points it out, you can catch it. I'll leave a link. I'll leave a link to his video. Just the symbolism in movie covers, the esoteric symbolism and the occult nature of movie posters, one after the other after the other. No, it's just not people that sit on the pot and burp and fart and whatever. Now, look, if I've said this many times, if there's a certain group here, somebody is explaining to me very interesting concepts about the minions. They do carry forth the knowledge they've always had into new incarnations here. Something we've always thought is possible. They seem to act that way. Like if a 60-year-old goes to build a cathedral that's going to take 80 years to build, they'll never see the completed project, the completed. How many were involved? Even 9/11, they didn't even see that Tuesday even come. Like Nelson Rockefeller, for example, they seem to be bound to this place, bound to this plane of existence called Earth, and they come back and they have full knowledge. If they come back, these are the minions that work for the overhanging reality I call not Nilk. If they do come back and they have all the knowledge they've had, then they would have the knowledge, the ancient knowledge, that goes right back to the Giza Plateau and the ancient, ancient Babylon, ancient Egypt, and a degree of ancient knowledge, which is basically if I don't have any expertise in this area, I'm not initiated in anything, nor do I want to be. I simply observe reality and make conclusions based on what I observe. But it could be it's just akin to what we call magic. Just the way these buildings were constructed. All of the buildings that like John Levi goes over, and some of these other channels, the impossible architecture. Whether it was this civilization or a past civilization that built these things, there's the means to build them there's a technology we don't understand, and per creepy characters like Arthur C. Clarke, there's technology of a higher degree is indistinguishable from magic. So if these minions are they have full knowledge of how to do things, how society works, how the human being works, and then they come into new incarnations with all the knowledge they've ever had, then see that for me, the reason I'm saying all this is because if I'm saying regular men and women can't pull it off, but a Hillary Clinton type is this sort of minion that has access to Library of Alexandria type stuff, or Vatican Library stuff, ancient knowledge, ancient wisdom, and magic that has been around thousands of years, then that's not regular men and women doing it. See what I'm saying? Even if Hillary Clinton, whatever that thing is, even if it has a avatar that's similar to mine, that's not regular men and women doing it. When there's other means of which we don't understand being employed. That's a really long way of getting my point out. But I just won't do it anymore, guys. And at some point I'll do a list of, I'll just do a video with 50 things. The 9-digit number associated with the speed of light is the same 9-digit number associated with the longitude of the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid, and as measured in longitudinal and as measured as meters per second. It's the same 9-digit number. And, of course, somebody's be calling out, Matt, the ancient Egyptians didn't have a meter. See, it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that the 9-digit numbers matching up, two things of significance like that, again, is by itself, just the numbers matching up, the 9 digits match up with a different decimal point, is at least one in hundreds of millions by itself. So if you add all these ridiculous coincidences up, you very quickly, the eclipse by itself is 1 in a trillion. If these bodies are anything like what they say they are, by itself, you start with 1 in a trillion. So it's just this is absolutely this existence, this reality is much more like the Matrix. It's far less real. This just, to argue it's real the way the old physical sciences teacher in high school described it, and rocks are heavy, is absurd at this point. Absurd. I'll do a video with just 50 things, impossible coincidences like the Kennedy to Lincoln, and if you do the probabilities of each, for 1 in a million times 1 in a million, two events that are 1 in a million, you put that into a calculator, probabilities, they stack on top of each other. If you put that into a calculator, it says like 1e to the 10th or whatever. There's not even enough zeros in a calculator to show. That's just two things. If you put all 50 together, or everything that's outlined in the book or in anybody else's list, the row of zeros, I don't know, it would go far past a quadrillion. It would be like a double quadrillion. I don't know about you, but I don't really buy into double quadrillion probabilities and chances very much. I'll buy a 1 in a billion, no doubt, but I won't buy that. So there's only way you have to buy into the 1 in quadrillion chance if you believe this world is, for lack of better words, real, that has these real physical rules and laws, that you believe it's not fluid. It's extremely fluid. So I want to talk about reality itself and use this event to have a greater understanding of reality itself. Again, we'll learn in 6 months what it took us 10 years to learn in 9/11. What's giving itself away now is the massive coordination of every media outlet, politician, right down to mayors, governors. They're all singing the same tune. And I'm sorry, somebody's saying they all just got the memo. They all just got the memo from the Rothschilds. Nope. It's mind control, but to a level or to a level we don't understand or can't even fathom. Meaning it is on the table. These people in these positions are not even real human beings. There are that many potentially organic portals or NPCs. And if they are, they would have figured out a way where they basically get the invisible download. The way we've seen non-Mandela affected people. We've all been around an NPC where we ask them the questions. If you build it, blank will come. And we've all seen it. Not all seen it, but very Mandela affected people have seen it. They'll say, like my friend will say, oh, if you build it, they will come. Yeah, of course. And then they'll change they'll answer 5 questions per the old reality, and then they'll go, I saw this. I've seen it twice. Definitely one time it was shocking. It was like an invisible antenna went up, and he said, you know what, I'm really thinking about it. I'm going to change some of those answers. Then he proceeded to change all his answers to line up with the new reality. Is it a download of some kind? Absolutely. Is that what an NPC gets? It's that type of thing. If you want to really understand this reality, you cannot leave an 800-pound gorilla out of the room, which is the Mandela effect. Just can't do it. There's very few ways to explain how every mayor is singing the same tune. Every governor, every politician, if anything was real, you would have a mayor somewhere on the Rhode Island border, maybe in charge of a town of 10 or 20 or 50,000 people, saying calling a press conference saying, "You can't do this. You can't. It's the United States of America. You can't pull people over based on their license plate and put them in and detain them in prison." Not one dissenter. The reality itself is being given away, and it is far, far closer to anything that resembles the Matrix or fluid than anything that resembles real. And it is not men and women making phone calls. I mean, come on, man. An entire world in every level of authority singing the same tune on this, when you and I can see how the overstep is so far out of whack to what should be done to fight. What is it? I mean, it's a killer Ebola that kills people in 10 minutes? No, it's a flu. A flu. Really? So I want to talk about reality itself and use this event to figure out reality itself. At the end of the day, what do I always say? Well, isn't that an examination of the screen? Yeah, it's a waste of time. But it's fun, it's interesting, it's fascinating, and yeah, ultimately it's just what we do for ourselves. That's all that's important. We're here in this life to do for ourselves. It's not selfish, that's what we're all here to do. So an examination of the screen sometimes can be completely worthless in that sense. However, if you can find a nugget, which we've done collectively many times, if you can find a nugget of how the screen operates that you can use then to then interpret that in terms of what you need to do for yourself, because we come in here blind. It's a mystery. No memories, no nothing. We come in here blind. So we can use the reality itself sometimes to help clarify what we need to do for ourselves, because that's not always crystal clear. The basics are pretty simple, but that we've talked about it many times. I don't want to get into that now. So I'm going to do that over the next few weeks. And only if there's my position on this thing is clear, only if things radically change will I. And they probably will. Just in a few days, so I'll probably start talking about this thing again. But I hope I don't have to. Thanks, guys.